The pen is truly mightier than the sword.
In this video, I'm going to show you some incredible and unique pro S Pen tips. Think of this like learning S Pen Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu? I'm going to learn Jiu-Jitsu.
Only it's not a martial art, but there is an art to using it right. A set of skills that you can learn and leverage to improve your productivity. And I actually started using the S Pen more after learning these things. So I thought, why not share them with you? And who knows, maybe you'll start using the S Pen more too. And the reason this video is important is the fact that the S Pen is one of Samsung's biggest differentiators and advantages over pretty much every other flagship smartphone out there today, of course, including the iPhone.
Not true. That's impossible.
But first, in order to complete your training, you'd better understand the basic rules of engagement, the fundamentals. Okay, so here are the basics that you need to know if you want to follow along with this video. When you pop out your S Pen, you will see the Air Command menu, which looks like this. At the bottom here, you'll see the settings icon, and this jumps straight to the S Pen settings, and we will be coming back here a lot, so make sure you remember how to do this. The second basic tip that you need to know is which apps are specifically built for the S Pen. So if we tap on the Air Command, which is the little pen circle there, we can actually go to this list and hit the plus at the bottom. When you hit that plus, you'll see shortcuts, and you can see all of the ones at the top here are S Pen features. So these are the ones that it recommends you add as a shortcut because, as I said before, they're purpose built for the S Pen. So what I've got set up is Smart Select, Screen Write, Pen Up, Write on Calendar, Notes, Magnify Translate, and we'll come back to that last one in a few minutes. Now, the basic thing you need to put in place straight away is the Air Command shortcut, which is this little pen icon here. You can actually drag it to the left, the right, pretty much anywhere around the edge of the screen. The only issue with this is when it's not in use, it fades into the background and can be hard to find. So in order to make it easier to find, I recommend you do this. You don't have to. Tap on the Air Command, go to the S Pen settings, go to the Air Command menu, and at the bottom here, you'll see this option, and this will actually be switched off by default. Open Air Command with the S Pen button. So enable this, and now instead of looking for the S Pen floating icon, all you need to do to quickly access the Air Command is hold your pen over the screen so you see the little dot on the screen and push the S Pen button, and that way you can quickly access the Air Command and also the quick shortcut to the settings menu. Now this next basic tip will definitely help you from time to time. Think of it as a troubleshooting tip. So when you pop your S Pen out, you should see the writing surface here on your keyboard by default. However, sometimes it will switch back to the regular keyboard and you might be wondering, how do I get that writing surface back? And actually, there's a few ways you can do it, but the easiest one by far is to open the Air Command menu and go back to whatever it is you're writing on, and then your writing surface should reappear. And if you set up the button like I just showed you in the previous tip, you can literally just push that button and that will reset the writing surface here. The fourth basic tip is this, and you can thank me for this one later. And actually, even if you don't have the S Pen, you should probably set this up. It is on the edge panel, which is the little sidebar here. If you hit the settings down here in the bottom left corner, it does disappear, so you've got to be quite quick. This will bring you to your edge panel options. And one of the most useful tools here on the edge panel by far is the Smart Select. So tick the Smart Select, and that is now added to your edge panel. And now when you drag the edge panel out, you have a second panel, which is the Smart Select. And we will come back to this. Okay, so now you've got the basics locked in. Nice.
Nice.
So now let me show you something a little more fun. When it comes to messaging people and getting your message across, sometimes the best way to do it is with a meme. And even better, an animated meme, something like this scene here from Star Trek. And this is a very iconic scene because, hurry. God damn it, dog. All right, let's try that again. So this moment here is where a sentient AI in the form of Data wants to create another AI, and this is Picard's reaction to that. And the reality is that this moment might actually represent the anarchy that humanity might be feeling in the near future if AI does become sentient. Anyway, on a more light-hearted note, this moment where Picard does the legendary facepalm is a great little gift to capture and have on your device so you can share it with your friends or on your social media whenever someone comes up with a bad idea. Here's how you do it. Open your Air Command, go to Smart Select. At the bottom of the screen, you will notice this. It says GIF. Tap on that. You get the square box on the screen and you can drag these corners to the area you want to capture. And you even get the little magnifying glass there as well to make sure you get the corners right. So this is the area that we're going to record the GIF from. Now I'm going to hit play and then record. And as you can see, it's creating that GIF of that moment. And we can stop it at any time. And there we go. We now have our Picard facepalm GIF, which we can now pin to the home screen. We can crop even more if we want to after the fact. And we can also download it to the gallery on our phone. And there we go. We've created a shareable GIF of an iconic moment. And this is exactly what my expression was when I found out that the UPS driver delivering my custom Nike trainers had stolen them. Shout out to UPS. So right now, you know, if you hold the S Pen near the screen where you can see the dot and you push the button, you get your air command. But if you hold your pen away from the screen and hold the button, it can open an app. And by default, it will open the camera app if I hold the button down. But if you want to, you can remap this push and hold to open something else. And here's how you do that. Let's go into the air command, go into the settings for the S Pen, tap on where it says Air Actions, and here you'll see this option, push and hold pen button. So if you tap on this, you'll see the options that you have. Now my recommendation here is do not change this just yet. Definitely watch the rest of this video and come back to this tip, because then you'll have a better idea of what makes the most sense for you when it comes to push and hold on the S Pen. Now, do you know about the magic that is Samsung's Air Actions?
Apparently not.
Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Either way, here's a refresher for you. First of all, it's important to know which apps actually support the S Pen Air Actions. And the good news is it's very easy to find out and to remind yourself from time to time. Here's how you do that. Push the S Pen button whilst close to the screen. Go to the settings, go into Air Actions at the top, and you'll see here all of the apps that are shown are designed to work with Samsung's Air Actions. And there's even some apps that I installed manually which can also support Air Actions. And let's go into the camera, for example. If you tap on that, it brings up all of the instructions for the camera app. If we go to the gallery, we can see all of the instructions for the gallery app. So I do recommend you spend a little bit of time familiarizing yourself with the Air Actions that work within these specific apps. And just to show you how they work, here's a little demo. Okay, so I've placed the smartphone down in a spot where I want to take a photo from. I'm going to hold the S Pen button to open the camera, and with the S Pen away from the screen, if I hold the button and swipe up, I can switch to the selfie camera. And yes, I do look like a right state right now, and that's because I've barely slept lately. Anyway, here's an air action you can use straight away. So if you hold the pen button down and circle, you can actually zoom in and zoom out. This actually works better on the primary camera because we only have 2 focal lengths here on the selfie camera. So if I circle like this, zoom in, circle like that, zoom back out. And if I want to take a photo, I just click. And when you are using an air gesture app, and the air gestures are available, if you hover over the air command button, you can see all of the air gesture controls that are available to you. So this is definitely something to keep an eye out for whenever using those apps that I showed you already. So for many years, Post-it notes have been an incredibly useful tool in an office environment. But nowadays, you can do the same thing with less waste of paper and more efficiently right here on your smartphone. And it's even easier if you do have the S Pen. Okay, so this website right here looks kind of old-fashioned, but it does have the greatest jerk chicken recipe ever, in my opinion, and it's right here at the center of the screen. Now let's say I want to make this recipe and I want to go shopping for the ingredients. Here's a great way to pin those ingredients to the screen. So if you tap the air command button, go to Smart Select, which can be done without the S Pen as well. So if you don't have an S Pen, you can still use this tip. Hit the square icon here. So we're going to draw a square around the section that has the recipe. Now, once we've done this, we've got a bunch of new options. So we can pin it to the home screen, which I'm probably going to do. We can copy it. We can adjust the selected area. We can crop the selected area. We can share it straight away to somebody, and we can download it to device. And then this icon here will extract the text from what we've cropped. Now, what I'm going to do is just pin it here. And now, when I go back to my home screen, the recipe's right there. Now, if I find that a bit too distracting, I can hit these 2 inward arrows and just have it as a small pinned note and keep that ready to go for when I get to the supermarket. Now, remember that tip where I showed you guys how to add shortcuts to your Air Command Center here? Two of the apps that I recommend you add here, because they're so useful, is the Magnify and the Translate. Now, the reason I mention Magnify is because sometimes these pinned notes can be quite small. And with Magnify enabled, you can actually hover over with the S Pen and see them enlarged. And we can change the magnification by tapping at the top here. So I'm going to set it to 200%. That way I can hover over and read all of the small print here, because with the sticky notes, you can't expand them, unfortunately. However, if you do download them to the gallery, you can expand from there. You might find that you don't need to use it that often, but it is a good tool to have in your utility belt. Now, the second very useful tool is the Translate tool. So once again, Air Command, I'm going to go to Translate here. Now, when you open Translate, you'll get this little window at the top where you can choose the language that you want to translate. So I'm going to change this into German, since we're on the Porsche website here. Now, if I hover over any text, you'll see it does some work on it and it will fully translate that bit of text for me. So as I'm scrolling around here on Porsche.de website, I can highlight what I want to read and I can get it converted into English text very, very easily. That's a very powerful S Pen tool that you can use right now. Okay, now going back to that pinned note feature, there is another way to take notes more efficiently without having to crop part of the screen. This is exclusive to the S Pen. You can't do it with the Smart Select. So if you hold the S Pen button and double tap the screen, you'll get this window. This is Samsung's Quick Note feature, and these will be accessible in Samsung's Note app. But the great thing about this is it does work kind of similar to the Smart Select. So let's say I write a note here. I can hit the little bar at the top of this window for the quick options, and I can minimize this into a smaller note which stays floating here on the home screen to be recalled at any time. And within the quick options, if you tap the top bar, you do have some other features here. For example, this one can allow you to make that window a bit more transparent. So if you want to have it kind of floating on screen at all times, you can just have it there instead of minimizing it. I just tend to minimize it though. It just seems to be the best way to keep it out of the way. And just in case for any reason, if this feature isn't working for you, here's what you need to check. Open your Air Command, go to your settings here, and then on the main settings page, you'll see quick notes here. Just make sure that this is actually switched on. Okay, so here's another fun way to take notes and keep them top of mind without using the pin or the Smart Select. So this is one of my favorite features to use on Samsung Galaxy Ultra phones. If you hold the S Pen next to the off screen and you push the button, you'll notice this little drop hits the screen. Now you have a surface on which you can draw on, and you can draw pretty much anything you want. You can write anything you want, and it will stay there on the always on display for a good few hours. Eventually it does disappear though, and when it does, you can find it in your Samsung Note app. Now, once you've created your masterpiece or very important reminder, you can hit the little pen icon here at the top, and this will save it to your always on display. So you can create these interesting and unique always on displays anytime you want. However, they do disappear after a certain amount of time. I'm not sure exactly how long that time is, but I did make a few like this before which have completely vanished, and the only place I can find them now is within Samsung Notes. So thank you for making it this far into the video, and as a little bonus reward for you guys, here's a little tip that not many people know about. So if you want to show off to your friends a little bit because you have a feature that they don't, I think you're going to like this one, and you might want to keep it secret, keep it safe.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
So check this one out. If you swipe out the Edge panel, go to the settings quickly before it disappears, and then here you'll see the Galaxy Store at the bottom. This will take you to a part of the Galaxy Store which is specific to Edge panels, and here are some really cool tools that you can add if you want to. These are the top ones. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. Now this one here, if you go to free, this one, the Control Center, if you're coming over from iOS, this will look very familiar to you. It looks just like the iPhone's control panel. It's very easy to install. Just tap on it, go to install, wait for it to install. Now you can drag out the Edge panel, hit the settings again, and right at the end of this list, we have our new Control Center free Edge panel. So you just swipe it out, and there we go. We have some quick settings that look very similar to iOS, but there are some other really cool Edge panels that you might want to check out within that Galaxy Store that I showed you. Okay, so here's another one of those very useful tools that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So let's open the Air Command, and go to Write on Calendar. Now this is a fantastic tool and you can use it quite simply and you can get quite advanced with it. So simply, you could literally use this to mark the days until you earn your freedom, like Nick Cage in that film. Or you could get more advanced with it and really zoom right into the days, for example this one, and write a more detailed note. And what's really great about using the calendar app this way with the pen is actually these little notes that you write on the calendar can be easily moved around using the lasso tool. So we can use it in the lasso mode or in the rectangle mode. And if we want to, we can set it to include partially selected objects as well. So here we go. We can draw around the little text that I wrote and we can move this. So if you wanted to, you could create some hand-drawn stickers which you can use continuously on the calendar app. And of course, you can use the eraser to get rid of them completely. So at some point you may need to sign some documents, and you can do this on your computer or within an app like Adobe Sign or something like that. But signing things with the S Pen is one of the best use cases for it. So let me show you how you can do that very easily here on the Samsung device. So if you go across to your Samsung Notes, within the Samsung Notes, you'll see this, a little PDF icon with the plus. The great thing about using this is when you tap on it, it will say, where do you want to look? And typically when you download a PDF document from an email, it will be in the download folder. And it will only show you PDFs and not all of the other stuff that's in there. So here's a PDF that I just mocked up for this video. And there we go. And here we can just sign it. Probably should have used a narrow pen here. But check this out, not only can I sign it, let's say I sign it all wonky like this, we can actually use this tool down here with the little magic wand next to it, and we can align the text correctly. And you can see there are a bunch of different tools you can use here when it comes to aligning text. But if I hit OK, it straightens up the signature. Then I can hit the three dots up there, and we can save this as a PDF file. And if we want to, we could even convert it into a Word file or something like that, and then send it back to whoever needs to have the document. Okay, here's another very good use case for the S Pen. Let's say you want to take some quick notes whilst browsing the web at the same time. If you hold the button down on the S Pen, double tap, open your quick note, hit the options here at the top, the quick options, and hit the split screen icon. Now we can choose the app we want to open at the bottom of the page. I've got Google Chrome here, and now I can look at Google Chrome and take notes up here. And if I want to flip this around so the writing surface is at the bottom, just hit the three dots in the middle, hit the little arrows, and there we go. We can take our notes here. And if you want to, you can resize the areas so we can have more website and less writing space. And then you can save these notes to your Samsung Notes. And if you hit the options again, we can expand it. We can turn it into pop-out window again if needed. Okay, this is a fun little feature with the S Pen and Samsung's Gallery app, which supports the S Pen as well as air gestures. But one of the cool features here is the ability to just hover over images in your gallery to get a sneak peek at them. And the great thing about doing this is when you hover over, you do get the share button, and you also get the button to delete. So if you're filtering through your photos because you don't need half of them, you can just use the S Pen to quickly delete those photos. If you want to expand them, you can literally just tap on them just like you would with your fingers. And with the air gestures, of course, you can just swipe through your photos. And just like before, if you don't know what gestures are supported, if you hover over the S Pen, it will bring up all of the air actions that you have. Now, one of the cool things you can do with an S Pen that a lot of people don't realize that you can do is you can write in any text field on a website or on your phone or pretty much anywhere. So if I go into the settings on this phone and go to the search up here, we've got a text field at the top. And when I hover over that, you'll notice the little squiggly line pops up indicating that I can write here. So up here, I'm going to write S Pen, and this does work better if you write individual characters as opposed to joined up letters. But check this out. This is a good example. So if I cross out or scribble out the W, it deletes it. Now, let's say I want to put a space between the S and the P. If I do a little tick above it, it adds a space. Now I can move the cursor back here and do an N. So we've got S Pen. Once again, we've got the space. If I want to join a space, not make a space, all you need to do is a little arc between the two letters. There we go. The little arc joins the letters back together. Now, that was a terrible demonstration, but let me show you how you can learn and practice these handwriting skills. If you go to the Air command, go to the settings here, go to S Pen to text. Now here is a nice little tutorial that can explain this way better than I just did. So I do recommend you take a look at this, make yourself more familiar with how the editing with the S Pen works. And with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to use this like a true S Pen master. Okay, so now it's time for a fun one. You might be looking at these images that I've drawn and thinking, wow, Troy, you're a little bit artistic. Well, in response to that, I would say, maybe switch the R for a U, and that could be more accurate. So anyway, here's a trick that can instantly help you improve your art and design skills. So let me show you how I created this artwork and how you can too. So if you open your Air command, if you don't have the Pen Up app already here in your list, just go to Add, and then you'll be able to find it here within the shortcuts menu, and you can add that to your Air command. Open Pen Up, and here you'll find a bunch of really fun coloring books. But what I want to show you guys is this, the photo drawings. So we can take a photo, or we can select a photo from our gallery. We drag the area over that we want to use, and check this out. If you go to sketch filters, you can turn any photo essentially into a coloring book, but that's not what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to leave it on the default, and you can see right here, we've got the opacity slider. I'm going to keep it at 50%. I'm going to flip the image. So now he's the right way around. I'm going to hit done. Now this is in the background, and I can use the colors here and the different brushes to create my own version of this Spider-Man. So you get the idea. I've just put that together very, very quickly just to show you in the video. But here's where it gets really cool. If you hit the little backgrounding button here, you can actually get rid of that back layer and just have the top layer. And if you want to, you can even add additional layers. So something that could be really cool to do here would be to actually have done all of the black lines on the top layer. And then that way on this layer, we could add an effect like I have on some of those other images where I've kind of smudged the art to make it blend in and look more like a watercolor. And this definitely hasn't been the best example of what you can do with this, but now you know how to do it. Play around with this one because it's great fun. You could draw pictures of your friends and family if you really wanted to. All right, so you've made it all the way to the end of the video, and I have saved a fantastic tip for you guys, and it is an app called Pentastic. Previously, you could only get this through Goodlock, but now you can actually get it standalone. So if you go to your Galaxy store, look for Pentastic, make sure this is installed. Once you've installed it and you open it up, you'll have a bunch of customization options specifically for the Samsung Galaxy S Pen. So the Air command, which I've been talking about all the way through this video, this is the default Air command. If you prefer, you could go with the line appearance of the Air command, which is less distracting and has all the same tools there, but just presented differently. You've got the circle, which is really quite cool. I do like the circle animation. It just kind of pops up and you can scroll around the wheel. And then you've got the retro style. So this is what we used to have back in the day on the old Note series Samsung phones. This one's not bad. I like the wheel one, I think, the most. Now check this out. When you scroll down, you can change the type of pointer for the S Pen. So we can have this kind of arrow pointer and change the size of it if we want to. So instead of the little circle that it defaults to, we have that. If you want a little heart instead of the circular pointer, you can have that. And you get the idea. There's tons of these. But the great thing here is you can actually create a custom pointer for yourself if you have Photoshop or something like that. So you can be truly unique and use something that nobody else has. What you can also do here is customize the sound effects that the S Pen makes. And once again, there's a bunch of different ones, and you can create a custom one if you want to. Now remember the push and double tap shortcut that I've shown you probably 100 times in this video to do the quick notes. If you don't want quick notes as the double tap app, you can use this Pentastic app to remap it. You can't do this without Pentastic. And then here you can choose something else, for example, Smart Select, or something entirely different. And if you're into customization and you want to learn more, I did spend ages making a good luck guide for you guys. Now this video has taken me so long. I've been staring at these screens for what feels like forever. So I'm gonna go now, because if I stay any longer, my face is gonna look like this. So don't forget to like the smash button, smash the like, comment button. You know what I mean. You know what, Picard, tell him.
Make it so.
See you in the next one. Don't be late.